This video is about redirection and debate because we see it on TV every single day. We're seeing a lot of redirection from the right with regard to the issue of a federal judge coming and finding some probable cause to hold the Trump administration in contempt over the issue of deporting people to El Salvador with absolutely no due process. In that debate, you're going to see a lot of redirection and a lot of what the behavioral panel guys say is chaff and redirect.
I think it's a national security issue. Prince George's County in 2019, their gang unit determined that Garcia was an MS-13 gang member.
Very interesting debate tactic here. Used by Scott Jennings at CNN, very good example of how you don't let somebody else define the terms of a debate or a discussion.
Well, I'm more than happy to hear the congressman say they're all going to El Salvador. I think for Republicans, this just confirms what we have believed about the Democratic Party and why it currently has a 21% approval rating in Congress.
Now, remember that Jennings is saying that, I'm so glad to hear that the Democrats are going to go to El Salvador, when we're watching Senator Chris Van Hollen blow up all his social media on a trip to El Salvador to get somebody who was effectively kidnapped by the government and sent to El Salvador with no due process. There's no way any Republican is glad to see that, because that is a winning moment right there for Chris Van Hollen.
Look where the energy in the Democratic Party is. It's around retrieving illegal aliens from El Salvador. It's around fighting for these college campuses that have been rife with anti-Semitism.
And of course, right at that moment, Robert Garcia, the congressman, should have interrupted him. Okay, he's letting Jennings define the debate, which, again, big mistake there.
It's around biological males who want to play in girls' sports. This is why they are losing to Donald Trump every day, because the energy that Democrats feel comes on all these issues that are fundamentally not where the American people are.
This is all being said, remember, on a day when the stock market is down 2%, president's approval ratings are plummeting on the economy and the tariff issue, and Scott Jennings is allowed to just talk and talk and talk with no interruption, which, of course, makes no sense.
Congressman, one second. Congressman, can I give you the chance to respond to that?
Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, it's Donald Trump that's actually losing the support of the American people. Donald Trump's not focused on lowering the costs of housing, not focused on lowering the price of goods. He's out there deporting people that have legal status to be here, revoking student.
You can see Scott Jennings should never play poker. Every time he gets hit and gets beat, he always closes his eyes and shakes his head like that, because, of course, that is a huge blow. Obviously, the President of the United States and his administration are acting without due process in terms of grabbing somebody off the street and shipping them to El Salvador, somebody who has never committed a crime, at least according to law enforcement in this country. And so that makes no sense. And, of course, Garcia hits him right away with that, which is sort of an obvious thing that he needed to get hit with.
Students that are contributing to this country.
He doesn't have legal status to be here, Congressman. He has a deportation order.
And here we go. This is where we see interruption as debate tactic. So Garcia sits there nice and quiet. When Jennings talks, doesn't say a word. Then, of course, Garcia starts talking and scoring points. And what does Jennings do? He interrupts again and again.
You're going to go to El Salvador. You're going to go maybe go to the grocery store. Like, there's an issue here where you could possibly win on, but you're going to El Salvador instead.
It's okay that someone walking into.
And of course, that was classic. The reason that people interrupt in a debate like this on TV is because they're losing and then getting their asses kicked. And once they start getting their asses kicked, and you got them rolling on the ropes, they start interrupting and trying to talk over you. It happens every time.
Someone walking into getting their citizenship, walking into their citizenship test, their citizenship meeting, is being apprehended on the way into their next process, which just happened to somebody in Vermont, and is happening now across the country. Students are being deported and revoked of their student visas. Yes. Many are not being told why that's the case. That should not be happening in the United States.
To me, what Garcia should have done with Jennings is ask him, do you think it's right that somebody's abducted on the street and shipped to El Salvador without any process, any hearing, or anything else? Just ask him that. What's the answer to that? I mean, what is the answer to that? And Garcia should have asked him that.
And certainly, someone shouldn't be deported and being left in a prison in a foreign country when the Supreme Court says it should be returned back.
Of course, right there, you can tell by the look on Jennings' face that he completely disagrees. Yeah, it's fine to ship somebody to El Salvador with no process who's never broken a law in the United States and was here because of asylum. We either have asylum laws or we don't. We have asylum procedure or we don't. We have due process or we don't. So it would have been nice if Garcia sort of asked Jennings that, but this is a great example of the chaff and redirect form of argument, which happens all the time with the Republicans. They're always redirecting the discussion into something else. And the reason you redirect is because you cannot win on the stage that you're on. Happens all the time. This is Lauren Burke. I'll be back very soon.